It's finally here. Lucasfilm has released the first official trailer, not a teaser, but a trailer for Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. There's a lot to pick out from here, so let's dive straight into it. The trailer focuses on both Rey and Kylo Ren, and the struggles they will undergo throughout this film. We first see a glimpse of Kylo Ren looking upon a First Order manufacturing facility, possibly on the Dreadnought. We also hear Snoke in the background telling Kylo of him seeing something truly special within him, perhaps the immense dark side potential holding within him. Here we can actually see plenty of the new guerrilla walkers that the First Order is creating. Next is a scene of the guerrilla walkers on the planet Crate, along with the old Imperial AT-ATs and possibly Kylo Ren overlooking the battle in his transport up above. Likely the First Order wins their battle against the Resistance here, just like the Empire did over the Rebellion on Hoth, as we see Kylo with the First Order snowtroopers on the ground, likely approaching the Resistance base. Kylo seems like he will be struggling with his past somehow, possibly trying to further erase any good he once had and starting anew in his path to the dark side. We see him destroying his helmet as a result of that, which is likely the outcome we've seen from the teaser with his destroyed helmet on the floor. Kylo then is seen in space during a battle with the Resistance, telling himself that he needs to kill his past, and what seems that he will indeed be aiming to kill Leia here. Having already previously killed his father Han Solo, his path to the dark side and what he is meant to be may not be complete until he has killed his mother Leia as well. Which is what we see Kylo attempting to do, aiming his starfighter blasters at the cockpit of Leia's cruiser as she looks at him in disbelief. Of course, this is a trailer, so we don't know for sure if Kylo does destroy Leia here or not, but that is at least what the trailer is alluding to. As well, we see Kylo sporting some kind of tape over his facial scar, which I'd guess is some kind of healing tape, which would possibly mean that this space battle happened somewhat early in the film. Next are the scenes of Rey, where the story will of course continue off from where The Force Awakens left off. We hear Rey telling Luke how she always felt and knew that the Force was within her, and now that it is awoken, she needs someone to help show her how to control it. During this, we see Rey actually venturing off and discovering the Journal of the Wills on Ahch-To. After Rey shows an example of the amount of force she has, Luke looks to be scared by this immense power that Rey holds and seems to be reluctant to agree in training Rey. He even admits to her that he had once seen this raw strength already before, and while he wasn't afraid of it then, he is now. When he says this, we're cut to a flashback of Luke's burning academy, possibly alluding to Luke talking about Kylo, which would make sense considering Snoke's previous mentioning of why he chose Kylo because of how strong and special he was. Furthermore, in the flashback, we also see Luke breaking himself free out of burned and destroyed debris from his academy, possibly indicating that he had lost but survived the battle or the attack took him by complete surprise. Next we see Rey climbing out of some water and looking upon Luke now all dressed in black, with Luke telling her that things aren't going to go the way that she thinks. This may either be part of a test by Luke for Rey, or she literally is being extremely persuasive and doing everything in her power to change his mind, or with him doing the exact opposite. Finally, we see Snoke telling Rey to fulfill her destiny while he seems to have her in a forced lock while she's in immense pain and possibly attempts to resist his control. This scene here seems to indicate that she will be taken in as a prisoner aboard Snoke's ship, which is actually what the Last Jedi toys originally spoiled for us. I did a whole speculation video on that topic if you wish to watch, as I think it now holds further truth. Finally, we see several other small snippets of Finn and Poe's side stories in the movie. First, we see Poe being aboard the Resistance cruiser, looking shocked that it's being under attack by the First Order. I'm guessing that the attack was either a surprise or the rumors of the conflict between him and Vice Admiral Holdo are true. And Poe as a result ends up being demoted, which may be why he wasn't in his fighter during this moment. We actually even see that it's the First Order Dreadnought ship that is inflicting the most damage to the Resistance fleet. Poe then looks like he is begging to be allowed back into his ship so he can help the Resistance in the battle against the First Order. Of course, having seen the teaser, we know Leia grants him that request, as Poe eventually gets in his X-Wing and attempts to take on the First Order head-on, going up against the First Order Dreadnought ship. As for Finn, we see him mostly being undercover as a First Order officer, as we know he, together with Rose, will be infiltrating a First Order operation while undercover, possibly in an attempt to save Rey from Snoke. However, I have a strong suspicion that he does get captured, as he is seen here looking disappointed and without his officer cap, with a stormtrooper right behind him. We also see another shot of the interior of what is likely the Dreadnought, with an impressive amount of vehicles on display. We can spot TIE fighters here, guerrilla walkers, standard AT-ATs, and even AT-STs. We then see Finn confront Phasma with a weapon of that of an executioner trooper, for possibly one more final battle, where he even seems to be holding his own against her. This scene may also be taking place after the Resistance and Poe successfully damaged the Dreadnought enough for it to be almost destroyed. We do get an interesting shot of Leia on Crait, looking sad as possibly the Resistance have lost their defense of Crait to the First Order's invasion. We see the local Crait wolf-like animals fleeing away from the battle inside the Resistance base. Afterwards, we see Chewie piloting the Millennium Falcon with a Porg in what looks to be a cave on Crait, outrunning several First Order TIE fighters. This scene, I think, may play out something similar to that of The Empire Strikes Back, as the Falcon attempted to escape Hoth and then found itself in an asteroid field, but in this case it's a cave on Crait. Finally, the trailer ends with Rey telling Kylo that she needs someone to show her place in all of this, with Kylo putting out his hand to her. This scene is very strange and it could easily be a misdirect by the trailer on purpose. However, since anything is possible here, we can guess that maybe, though highly doubtful, but Luke might totally reject Rey, forcing her to turn to Kylo and taking him up on his offer to train her. And it's Kylo who brings Rey to Snoke. Now, while I don't see that happening and it sounds pretty crazy, it does seem at least that's what the trailer is alluding to. Or maybe it's a ploy that Rey and Luke devised together to have Rey pretend that she wants Kylo and Snoke's help in order to get Luke closer to Snoke, which I think is the more possible scenario here. This is because when thinking back to the Force Awakens trailer, that trailer also had some misdirects and made us imagine some situations happening totally different than they actually played out on the screen. So it's important that we're careful here in how we analyze the trailer and the actual story of The Last Jedi, as I'm expecting Rian Johnson to give us some real impactful twists and turns in this movie, and putting out a really predictable story again would be kinda disappointing to say the least, because I hope that there will be as little resemblance to The Empire Strikes Back here as possible, as after The Force Awakens, Disney can't really afford doing that again. Sure, whether I agree with them, I understand the arguments on why it needed to be done like that. But for The Last Jedi, there's absolutely no way that can happen here. But the things in this trailer that we can be sure of is that Rey will initially have a difficult time in getting Luke to agree to train her, with Luke being afraid of potentially what can happen to Rey if she learns how to untap her incredible power. There will be conflict between the First Order and the Resistance, both on the ground and in space, with Poe Dameron somehow saving the day in some fashion. I'm actually thinking now that Poe's possible demotion may also come from him somehow doing something wrong in the battle on Crait, which may lead to the Resistance and Holdo questioning leaving him in charge of the battles. But of course, he will likely redeem himself later on. And Rey will later confront both Kylo and Snoke. Whether that meeting will actually be intended or a trap of some kind is a totally different question on its own. Anyways, that's my whole analysis of the trailer. We of course will see two main stories here, with both Rey and Kylo trying to overcome their own personal struggles, with their two paths eventually intertwining later in the movie. The trailer is still fresh in my head, so these are my only thoughts on it right now, and they might change later on. However, if I missed anything, or if you have a theory yourselves on what is going on in these scenes, do let me know in the comments down below, as I'd love to see what you all think. But that'll do it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, share, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars related content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.